If you want an indication of just how competitive Formula One is at the moment, take a look at Force India's Giancarlo Fisichella. He missed the cut for the top 16 in qualifying, even though he was only a second slower than the fastest car. And at the front of the grid in Q3, rows 2 and 3 are separated by just 1/10 of a second. Many drivers found the cooler conditions tricky, chief among them Nico Rosberg, whose Williams couldn't find any grip in the low-speed corners. A podium in Australia, 16th on the grid here. David Coulthard's had a tough weekend with this suspension failure on Friday. A lack of running means the Scot is 12th. Jenson Button missed out on the top 10 slot by 5/100ths of a second. Proof that Ross Brawn's Honda team are getting their act together. Ferrari have looked faster than McLaren all weekend, and Felipe Massa has bounced back from his disappointment in Melbourne. Outpaced by Raikkonen in second part of qualifying, he pulled out a barnstormer of a lap to grab pole ahead of the Finn. Heikki Kovalainen found more grip than teammate Lewis Hamilton, but both McLarens got in Heidfeldt's way at the end of qualifying and take a 5-place grid drop as a result. That gives Jarno Trulli 3rd place on the grid and no less than he deserves. The Toyota driver has been electric all weekend, keeping up with the McLarens. And so the grid for the Malaysian Grand Prix, and it's Ferrari's 7th pole in 10 years here. Felipe Massa at the front then, Raikkonen his first time off the front row at Sepang. Through to row 2, Jarno Trulli in the Toyota and Robert Kubica in the BMW. Row 3, Nick Heidfeld and Mark Webber flying in the Red Bull. Alonso makes it into the top 10 for Renault, with Kovalainen taking that penalty alongside him. Hamilton back in 9th and Timo Glock is 10th. Button and Coulthard, and all British, row 6. Row 7, Nelson Piquet 7 places better than he did in Australia last week, and Rubens Barrichello. Vettel and Rosberg make up row 8. Row 9, Fisichella in the Force India and Sebastian Bourdais, 1 place less than he was last week in Australia. Sato and Sutil make up row 10. And at the back, Anthony Davidson and Kazuki Nakajima, who takes a 10-place drop for an accident he caused in Melbourne.